Okay, two things happened to me recently that made me reconsider my opinion on the death penalty. The first one is I went to go see Insidious, and whoever made that movie should be killed. No, but actually I went to go see it with Beatrix, and first of all, before I even say what happened, that movie was that's the worst horror movie I've ever seen, and I go and see horror movies. You could say that they're all bad. They almost are all bad, but they still have redeeming qualities. Like, I think horror movies are very fun. Like, you get a little bit scared sometimes. Really, really, occasionally you'll be genuinely horrified by what you're seeing and scared, but that almost never happens. To me, anyway. Like, usually I'm laughing in a horror movie, and I'm not like, just because they're so absurd. But anyway, it's like, it's funny and it's fun, but this Insidious movie, horror movies are always formulaic, but this one was like so fucking tired. And when they do the jump scares, the faces were not scary. They weren't fucking scary at all. And there's weird plot about, like, you go to sleep and then he has control in the further dude, what a piece of shit. Honestly. But anyway, this lady, and she was obese. This obese woman comes into the theater late with her friend. And I was trying to figure out what job this lady had, but because she was scum of the earth. Can you fucking be... I'm trying to do something important here. Scum of the earth. She comes in with her friend late. She sits down in the same row as us, and pulls out her phone. And this is something I've realized now is the standard, like, the rules of society. Like, they play a fucking ad every time you go into a movie theater about how you're not supposed to be on your phone and you're supposed to shut the fuck up. Those are the two rules of the ad in the theater. Like, Nicole Kidman's on there telling you to put a sock in it. And this lady instantly starts breaking the first two rules. The only two things you have to do in a movie theater. Like, that's actually... No, there's only one thing you have to do in a movie theater, which is nothing. You just stare at the screen. That's your only job for 2 hours. That's the entire fucking point of it. Everyone goes and stares at the screen as having a mutual experience concurrently digesting a piece of media, right? That's the whole fucking thing. This lady comes in... First of all, I can see her texting, which is like, that's fucking lame. You suck for texting in a movie theater. But what's even worse than that is she's using her cell phone as a flashlight. She's using the screen as a flashlight to light up her chocolate dip for her churros. So she couldn't fucking... I guess because she was on the brink of death, because she was 500 pounds, there's probably no circulation going to her eyeballs. She couldn't see inside the movie theater with the fucking... The screen is enough light to light, the location of your fucking chocolate dip for your churros. Just accelerating her own death. Anyway, so that's fucking annoying, because if you watch a movie and in the periphery there's just like this white light flashing around, it's fucking annoying. You can't focus on what you're looking at. So anyway, if that wasn't bad enough, she's talking to her friend. They're just talking like they're sitting on a fucking patio in France having a latte, a cappuccino. Tell them to bring out the AK-47. Fucking shoot her in the face. They're just talking, and there's dialogue on the screen, and there's also dialogue in real life next to me. It sounds like, because it was a horror movie, it sounded like somebody was having some schizophrenic episode, and they were like it was fucking insane. And I was like, okay. First of all, you're ruining it for everyone else. And that's just the worst part of it, is not giving a single fuck that people pay $20 each minimum to come in here in this theater within the seat that is making my ass itch, because I don't know the last time they fucking cleaned this place. People have just been farting in that fucking seat all day. It smells like feet in there. I'm uncomfortable already, and this fucking beluga whale of a human being is shoving churros down her neck and yapping. Like, how can you fucking live with yourself going into a place where you know everyone is stuck in there with you and just fucking talking and using your cell phone? It's unbelievable. And then some lady in the front seat also, like, took a photo with the flash on, like, of her feet on the banister, like, what, like, just so I guess she could fucking post on Instagram that she was at the movie theater seeing this piece of shit Insidious film. Like, it made me consider, people don't even give a fuck about what it is they watch. They don't care a lot. I don't know. It's so easy, you know, to sit at home and go on the internet and consider everybody that isn't in your immediate life a fucking NPC. And I think that's like a pretty toxic attitude to have. But then when you actually go out in the real world and this is the reality that you're fucking confronted with, who fucking cares that you went and saw Insidious? And why would you go to a movie theater to talk to your friend? You can do that anywhere else. If you wanted to sit at home on your phone, eat churros, and you know, text a fat guy on Facebook Messenger, then do that at home. It's also just like a complete waste of fucking money for you. Like, why do you go to a theater, pay $20 for a seat, to not fucking pay attention to the film? If you're gonna even call that thing a film. It's on so many levels, it's just a complete clusterfuck. She doesn't win, nobody else wins. Anyway, finally, you know, and the thing is, you think you're gonna be fucking Mark Wahlberg on the plane crash of 9/11, be like, if I was there, she would have gone down a little differently. I was being such a pussy. And the reason I was being such a pussy is because I didn't want to get into an altercation with somebody that could sit on me and end my life. But really, like, the thing is, I was just hoping that she would shut the fuck up and that we could all just sit and you know, suffer through and trauma bond through this Insidious movie together. That's what I was hoping for. Because, you know, if you have like an altercation with somebody, and even if you're completely right, it's still awkward, like, for the rest of the time that you're stuck in a place with somebody. Like, there is no excuse for you know, talking about your breakfast with your friend while you're in a movie theater, and everyone would agree with that. But in that situation, you know, the person that you're fucking, you know, telling off is gonna be like, oh yeah, well, fuck you, bitch. Like, anyway, somebody else shushed her. And I was amazed that all it took was one shush. And I'm ashamed of myself. I should have shushed her. And next time I will. Next time that happens, I will shush. But I didn't want to be stuck in awkward jail. I didn't want to be stuck watching the worst horror movie ever produced in an awkward situation. But somebody shushed her, and that was it. One shush. So anyway, long story short, in my humble opinion, she should get the death penalty. I think she should be killed. Because there's no way that in her real life, outside of that situation, with such a brazen display of self-absorption, that she could be a valuable or even neutral member of society. She has to be taking. She has to be overall affecting the human race in a net negative way. And I'm not saying everybody who does that should be killed, but she should be, because she knew, like, you know what, if you got addicted on drugs or something, you go rob a store or something, or you go rob a store, I kind of get it a little bit. You know, you're fucked up, you're on drugs, you're in a low place. This person was fucking normal. She was normal, and this was just her modus operandi, her standard way of being. So I wonder what sort of job she had. And when we left the theater, I was talking to Beatrix, and I was just fantasizing about ways in which to slaughter her. Because that was the only thing that was making me feel better. I wanted to leave the theater, but we didn't. And when we got out, I was just like, there's so many incredible ways. You know, serial killers, there's people who commit all kinds of depraved acts. And everyone likes to sit around and act like it's completely unjustifiable and disgusting, and there's no excuse to commit, you know, these crimes against humanity. But when you're confronted with something so banal in the way that I was, I get it a little bit. It filled me with anguish, depression, like the worst cocktail that I could totally see. Like if I had, you know, a little bit of a different genetic makeup, I would have ended up, you know, on a murderous fucking rampage that night. And I would have five trash bags totaling 500 pounds of human meat, because that lady was 500 pounds. And I don't think her friend who was talking to her should be killed, but I think she should be made to watch. And so she's scared into reformation, because the first lady was too far gone. There's no saving her. So that's the first thing. This whole idea that I was talking about is based on get away from me. It's based on killing people for what did I just say? You don't even need to be over here for committing minor crimes. This isn't even a crime, I don't think. I don't think talking in a movie theater is even a crime. It's just like a citizen's arrest situation. Like, shut the fuck up or I'm putting you under citizen's arrest. I should have put her under citizen's arrest. But anyway, I was just driving to get a coffee this morning, and now I'm driving back to Orange County. And I saw, this reminded me of another thing that like just makes me feel so bleak about humans. Because even you know, let me say that. I saw a guy litter. I saw a guy eating a candy wrapper and holding a Dr. Pepper. Some dude who was in his like 50s or something, and he's just walking around like he fucking owned the place. And he just tosses a candy wrapper behind him, you know? And I think what really bums me out about that is that there's just such like a narcissism about it and a lack of care. Like just tossing it and not even looking, you know, that is now someone else's problem. I am done with this, and I will throw it into the middle of the road and accelerate the demise. He doesn't care, he's already 50, but accelerate the Earth's fucking demise. And it could mean anything like, but you know, people feel like kind of know a bit like they're doing something wrong. I would almost feel better about it if he looked back at the piece of trash, you know, he showed some kind of remorse. But the part that really gets me is like the ambivalence about it, the lack of care. You know, it's almost like his day got better when he littered. It's almost like he felt empowered through littering. Like that he can just commit these infractions on the rest of us and he will be unchecked. You know what would be good, actually, what I should have done is I should have honked my horn. I was just so dismayed. I found it to be so despicable. I was shocked because I hadn't seen anyone do it in a while. And I remember how angry I get when I see people do it. Anyway, you know, like people that are like punk rock and shit, they're like, I don't give a fuck. Like, you know, people that are nihilist or whatever. Not even those people litter. Those people, they say, I don't give a fuck about anything. I could die tomorrow. It doesn't matter. Those people still throw away their trash. Isn't that crazy to think about? There's something so deeply, deeply disturbed and gross about littering, and it also feels very American to me. I've been to Europe many times, thank you, mummy. Before I was a wealthy YouTuber. And now I can go by myself if I want to, but why would I spend my money on that? I don't think I ever saw a person litter in Europe one time. I'm trying to think. You know, like, I have mocked the neon shoe, you know, and capri wearing top man, super dry members of the male race in Europe. I've never seen them litter. And if I could live in a society where nobody littered and I was forced to wear what those guys wear, those guys look like they shave their legs, but not in a way that is some expression of gender, but in a way like where they feel like it'll make them run faster or something. I do it for the performance. I know I'm saying all this and I look like a Euro guy in my sunglasses because I'm second generation American. I'm the first person who's been in my bloodline who from birth has been exposed to the toxins that one is subjected to when they live in the United States. So what was I talking about? Oh yeah, I think you should be killed for littering. That's another one. Like, with all the gun violence in this country, I think that if a cop sees you throw a piece of trash on the ground, he should just be able to shoot you right there. Imagine the streets would be clean. It would look like Sweden over here. Apparently Sweden's a nice place to live, I don't know. But then whenever you say that, somebody is in the comments is always like, actually, here's the thing that sucks about Sweden, is their tax rates are 40%. Well, mine are gonna be 40% anyway. So, I'm all for shooting people when they litter. But really, like, nobody would litter. And it's funny to say all this half in jest, but also half serious. Get your head out of the screen! Why? There's an entire car. The Prius is a deceptively large interior for what it looks like on the outside, the sedan, and you have to stand in this fucking 6 inches of space that I'm in with your head, and you have to mess up my already horrible audio with your panting because you have an anxiety disorder, because you were abandoned in Palm Springs and you almost burned to death. Get away from me, go. I'm abandoning you again. Yeah, I wonder if I got what I wanted and this guy littered and it was what fucking Christ. Excuse me. What was that Netflix show? Squid Game, and he got like murdered Squid Game style, where just some sniper from an unknown location blew his head off. I wonder how I would feel. You know, like in the red light, green light game, where they just get eviscerated when they twitch. Like as soon as the trash hits the ground, he just... I wonder if I'd actually feel good about that or if I'd feel bad. I don't know. But anyway, so those are my two things: talking in movie theaters and littering. And I think the thing that they share in common is there's no defense of either of them. And those like dash cam videos, my friend Colin watches a lot of like cops pulling people over because he's fucked in the head. But like when people argue when they're just so clearly in the wrong about stuff, like, hey man, I couldn't find a trash can. It's not my fault. It's like, just put it in your pocket, you cunt. It's not difficult. Why are you here? You have something to say? Go on, pull your weight. Entertain people. Fucking useless. All she does is fart and have stinky breath. I'm gonna have her, like, professionally teeth cleaned shortly. I remember the first time I ever went to the vet. I was like, she was 6 months old, and I told him, I was like, can you clean her teeth? And he told me, no, we do that when they turn 3. It's like, we do like a full-on teeth cleaning, and I could probably just get like a dog toothbrush and maybe try myself, but there's no way she's gonna let me do that. But she'll put up a fucking fight. Yeah, they like knock the dog out and they give it like a real, like full reupholster her mouth and shit. So I think that's what I'm gonna do when she turns 3. So yeah, there you go. I think you should be killed if you litter. And I guess the other thing I'll talk about is Beatrice on the Bunt interview. I only watched it once, so I don't remember what was fully said, but she said I would be the last person that she'd want on the session, and she said I seem really annoying. Which, you know, whatever. I feel like this, see, the thing, people were like, you know, talking to me in comment sections and shit, and they're like, dude, also that interview was like 1,000 views. It's like, this is another thing I remember when I was like, Carl Aikens, like somebody commented like, what do you think about Gifted Haters saying you have bad style? I love people do that in comment sections. They're just like, it's not enough that we all have like a little mutual laugh, you know, on a YouTube video. You then have to go and rub it in, the people have to go and rub it in someone's face on Instagram that I made a joke at their expense. It's like, shut the fuck up. Like, you make me not want to do this. Like, you're ruining it. But anyway, and he replies, he says, who? And you know, I try not to be like egotistical or whatever the fuck, but in practical terms, let's be honest, am I more fucking famous in the skate community than Carl Aikens? Who gives a fuck about Carl Aikens? That guy sucks. His style's so fucking corny. Like, let's be real. Who likes Carl Aikens? If you like Carl Aikens, you need to like start playing those fucking IQ puzzle games on your iPhone, so you can you know, create some additional neural pathways, because you have some work to do. But yeah, he's like, who? And it's just like these like blue checkmark dudes on Instagram that are like, you know, clearly very arrogant. And they're like, who's that guy? It's like, oh, he's a YouTuber? I don't care. It's like, he should have that attitude, but at the same time, being like, who? It's like, I think that if we showed up to the same skate park, more people would ask for a photo with me than they would ask for a photo with you, dude. So, suck my balls, Carl. Like, no, I'm not even remotely angry at that. I think that's the reaction that he should have, and that is my preferred reaction, actually. And I think that's funny. It's not really funny, but it's like, get away from me, get away. Like, that's just the easiest way of handling all of this. You know, if I get compartmentalized into this little drawer where it's like, we don't have to listen to what the floating head and on the webcam has to say about me, because I really be outside, I really be doing this, and he be a broke bitch. That's good. I prefer it to be that way. I prefer that role. I don't want to be, despite what I had said about a photo ticket, I don't want to be considered like I'm in the same echelon or tier as Carl Aikens, even though I am probably more famous than he is. You're sponsored by chocolate. By chocolate. You are sponsored by chocolate. Anyway, oh yeah, that was another thing. Robert Neal, he had said to me, he's like, you're broke. I guess he probably watched my Pocket Mag thing, because he's like, you're broke. You have roommates. Your life is sad. And I guess he thought Ryan Lay was my roommate. Because Ryan was there while we filmed it, and he's like, he said something like, yo, dog, sleep on the mattress with you. Yo, mattress is on the ground, broke boy. And I had so many things I wanted to say to him in my head. I was like, at least my dog is going to be alive in 5 years because it can breathe through its nose. Because I didn't buy a designer, you know, genetic monstrosity that was engineered by stupid French people. Look, it breathes so well. All it does is breathe. It's going to live forever. It might be stinky, but it's not going to die anytime soon. Anyway, and then, you know, and then Beatrice said something on that Bunt interview too, where she called me like broke or something. And it's like, that seems to be the justification almost always when people are doing stuff that is like perhaps whack. Perhaps whack. It's like, and Robert Neal says thing, he's like, I'm making way more money on fashion than you will ever make on YouTube. I was like, cool. That's badass. But then Beatrice also like, he's almost like saying I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing, or there's no value to what somebody is doing if they're not seeing immediate financial compensation from it. So I guess maybe her argument is, which is kind of a good one, it is that I'm doing this because I'm getting paid. Which would be fine, but, you know, I haven't watched the interview, but some people say she's, you know, a bit full of herself. Which, I don't know, she's almost like an only child. You know what I mean? Where everyone her whole life is just like, you're the best, you're awesome. And it's like, you know, to what degree is it her fault and to what degree has she been enabled? But it is funny, like, if Beatrice knew that I was not broke, would that change or would that validate what I do? Because I don't think so. You know, if I worked at Pizza Hut and also uploaded on YouTube, I don't think that would make what I have to say any more or any less valuable. It just would mean that I'm not very entrepreneurial. And I think that would be the extent of it. So, yeah, we'll see. I'll watch that Beatrice interview. I don't know if fuck. There's nothing to say anymore. You know, people like tagging me in that post or whatever. Also, the Bunt guys seem scared of me almost. Like, usually, I don't know, if somebody takes shots at somebody, they'll like kind of jump on and like laugh too. But they seem like they didn't want the smoke. They're like, oh, people love Gifted Hater. People have been asking for the Bunt Gifted Hater collab. And I'm like, yeah, we'll see about that. But then also, I don't know how money got involved or something, but like it was almost insinuated that I would pay to go onto the Bunt. Like, what the fuck is that about? Because I think Seifa said, like, he's bringing the coin? I don't know. It seemed like a miscommunication or something, but also I'm like, dude, me paying to go onto the Bunt would be like Shohei Ohtani, like, you know, paying to pitch in a D1 game. Not happening. What the fuck is the point of that? Yeah, I'm the Shohei Ohtani of skateboarding YouTube. So yeah, I think that's it. And by the way, if you don't know, Shohei Ohtani is like a Japanese prodigy of the Angels baseball team. He plays for the Angels, and I think they're going to trade him or something. He probably wants to be traded. Apparently the Angels have had I don't watch baseball, but they had like the two best baseball players of the last, you know, 10 years or whatever, Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani, and they just fucking suck. It's kind of sad. Kind of like being really good and just being stuck on chocolate or something. Except it doesn't apply because Carl Aikens isn't that good. Who? You know, this is the kind of shit I like. Just a little bit of banter. I wish everybody was more acceptable and okay with this kind of shit. So yeah. Next X Games video, gonna do that. I want to make sure that's a banger. I'm gonna make sure that's a banger. All right. 30 minutes of iPhone footage. So see you guys later. Peace.